let's talk about your project 1340 South Hill. Please update all of us on where you are on that project. But I guess just to describe what that project is, where it is, because I really want developers to come on here and talk about, because we always talk about concepts, high level, what zoning should be, what units are, but I really love it when there's actual, you're moving dirt and what you're building is super exciting to me. So
thank you. Yes, I love what I do. It is very, very exciting. I am a real estate development management consultant. So in the case of 1340 South Hill Street, which we call the Eden, I represent the family that owns the site and has owned the property for 65 years through different iterations. In 2015, my client, who is the grandson, started a rezoning, knowing that this property is located in South Park, kind of in between the downtown and the 10. Nicely, development started really coming towards their site through the recession, the Great Recession. Then, so they started zoning. They got approved in middle of 2017. I was brought on 2018 to, okay, now we got entitlements for 235 units, 8,000 square feet of ground floor retail. The building does include affordable housing and workforce housing, which, as you were just alluding to, gets you to those different thresholds, of affordability, at either very low, or, in the case of workforce housing, you're somewhere really in median income, which is great. And we have a great variety of units. It's a 7-story building. We have 9 amenity areas, which are incredible. So not only very well appointed units, because and this is what I find interesting, it's a family-owned property. It's a long-term hold. It's in an opportunity zone, which already you're in for 10 years, right? So that was a certain bucket of potential equity investors, which we, of course, locked down with a loan. And you then move, beyond that, because when it is a family-owned property, you're typically thinking generations. So the finishes are very well appointed. Plus, we have all these amenity areas, both inside and outside, which makes for a very attractive building. And things are right now, we are framing the 3rd floor, pouring the 2nd, because the building is 3/4 of city block. So you can't pour all that concrete at once. It's done in sections. Humphreys Architects is the designer of the building, architect of record. CBG, Clark Builders Group, is doing the construction right now. They're doing a phenomenal job. As you know, John, I'm very big into teamwork. I don't think there's any other way to get a project of size done, whether it's 10 units or 1,000 units. If you don't have a solid team and act as a team, you're never going to get anywhere, because no one person can do what no one person out there can do what my team can do collectively. And I luckily was able to learn that and expand on that, as I worked for CIM Group and CityView, et cetera, to get now to my own company. So our teams are doing great. The designers, engineers, we're in construction administration phase for the professionals. Everyone is at the table, really bringing it all day long. We're lucky we picked very experienced consultants on the team and melded with a phenomenal team, our field crew and our project management team from CBG. We're doing really well. We are running into what everybody else is running into. Concrete is very tough to schedule because everybody wants it. Street closures through the holidays, especially, where we'd be allowed to set up a pump truck because we have to take an aisle, a lane of the street. Getting through DOT, Department of Transportation, Bureau of Engineering, BOE, working with LADWP on our power, where it comes from, where is it in the building, how is that room designed, since we've been working on this project for a long time, and through the pandemic, which kind of put a pause, obviously, to some degree also, they changed things. So it's like, okay, what you had approved in 2020, now that we're building it in 2022, now moving into 23, well, you can't do that one cable, you're going to need to do 2 cables. It's like, okay, well, we just built something, and now we got to go redo it. However, with all of that, and everybody, again, I find when everybody's a team, and working in the same direction, shoulder to shoulder. There's none of this. There's no egos.
Right.
We are doing, my fiduciary responsibility is to make sure my clients are getting everything they paid for.
Right.
They're getting every penny on the dollar.
Right.
And we're working with people who also have the same mindset of, we're not looking to just add dollars and crush contingencies.
Mhm.
Everything's very methodic and going quite well. So we anticipate delivering the building in August of 2024. And the way things are going right now with our schedule, we feel very comfortable with that. And, everybody should understand that when the concrete and framing goes on, which is very quick,
Right.
you then get into your building systems, drywall, finishing, which is very, very slow.
Yes.
So every one day you can pick up today equals, some number of days, in the future. And, we're just trying to bank those days as much as possible. And I'm also very, very lucky that my client is a very, very, very sharp young man. Representing his family. He has great development and investment banking experience. So we do analyze things methodically and we make a decision and then it's done. And so it's really great, just the whole perspective of the way things are going. I feel very, very fortunate to have this opportunity. I'm also working on another project in West Hollywood, actually representing my own family.
You mentioned that before. Yes.
Yeah, a little more pressure. Where we just went through the application process, but had to spend months working with the city and the city architect. And again, you got to have a team. So I already have the GC, I already have the architect, the professional consultants. We're all working together with the city to hopefully make what's a better building for them, a better building for us. We'll see how it goes through the getting some approvals and getting onto permits and construction hopefully starts this year. It's very exciting.
Yeah, there is a lot to unpack from what you said. There's a lot of thoughts there, but one thing I do want to touch upon is you're right. That point of, getting from performa stage and even like adding in all of the variables when you're actually getting through permitting, through entitlements, and then actually building, there could be a pandemic or once, that you didn't plan for, pencil in. And then even the logistics of 2020 and you're building in 2022 and the slight changes that happen, they're not static with the city ever. So they're ever changing, right?
Well, look at what really happened during the pandemic was the whole supply chain got crushed.
Right.
As we all know, we're still suffering from it. There are a number of things, kind of a discussion about 1340 kind of relates also to underwriting today.
Yeah.
We definitely had an issue with construction costs that kept going up and going up and going up while we're trying to underwrite and get equity, to get to the table and debt to get to the table. Everybody, I think we even talked about this the last time we chatted in this format. Everybody thinks development's some easy, let's go play golf. I drive a Jaguar. I've got a, $20,000 watch. I make money in my sleep. Let me tell you, 2020, 2021, I had my heart in my throat every day as we work through different equity partners who, when they just look at everything, they feel good, and then something comes up that may derail the opportunity. And this, and still really in the whole market, equity investors still want a really big yield on total project costs, 5.5, 6, 6.5, and where it is today. I'm always having those ongoing discussions with people. Interest rates are pushing 7, 8, 8.5% now on a construction loan, depending on whatever your metric is to measure and add 500 basis points to. And so, construction costs, supply chain issues still killing us. We are, we tried to buy out the job as fast as possible once we signed the contract. Once we got to the table, the whole ownership side is just like, we got to eliminate risk. And so how fast can we buy out this job, which forces the designers and engineers to do their reviews of submittals as fast as possible. And make those contract commitments and order materials. We have even decided to rent space near the property where we could store some materials
Yeah.
just so we could order it and buy it and take delivery to
Right.
know we have it.
Right.
Not uncommon from what I'm hearing from other people, if they are in a position where, okay, we've built a building, we've got a big garage. Okay, let's take whatever orders we can get. We'll take all our sinks. We'll get
Right.
every sink we can, and then some other items, big components,
Mm,
big machinery,
right.
HVAC, power, anything that's required for switchgear, power,
Right.
meters, anything that has to do with the operations of the building, those
Mhm.
sophisticated pieces of equipment
Mhm.
have very long, a year-long lead time.
Wow.
So when you think, oh, it's a 2.5 year, it's a 2-year construction,
Yeah.
no problem. Well,
Yeah.
when you figure out your construction schedule where that piece of equipment is required, like
Right.
an elevator,
Right.
we want to get our
Like,
elevators, we want to get our elevators in so
yeah.
that one can be turned on to be used as a temporary elevator, so that
Right.
we can then get rid of our man lift, which is an exterior elevator that your listeners, viewers see running up and down the outside of the building.
Right.
Well, until you take away that man lift,
Hmm.
material hoist,
Hmm.
you can't finish the facade. You can't button up your building.
Yeah.
And so then you're not delivering, so all these things, and the organizations in the jurisdiction that we work with are inundated. They're working very hard.
Right.
Every project manager on each of the different divisions of the city we work with, although they're trying hard, they try to be as responsive as possible. They're overloaded and
Yeah.
doing the best they can. So
Right.
it could take, where we return, I mean, this is the nitty gritty of it. We return something to a city department within 24 hours. They can take 2 to 3 weeks before they get something back to us. And they're like, oh, well, come on, they got 2 year to build period. Well, we need that thing in 15 months.
Right.
So if
Right.
you don't get us something, we can't get it installed on time,
Right.
then we're not going to hit that 2 year schedule. We're going to be pushed day for day. So those are the things we focus on every week in our OAC meetings. What are the most critical components? How does it relate to something that we have to order, or a submittal we need approved, or a jurisdiction we need a final stamp? And like I said, the city jurisdictions, the people we deal with, the divisions within the city, they're doing their best. They're certainly pleasant to work with.
Yeah.
And it's just a function of getting through the system. You can only get so much water through a straw.
Good point. And I like how you put that, because you're right. A lot of the city staff are overworked, and obviously they could use more efficiency tools. I think that's the missing opportunity here, is that government's adopting ways to just approve faster. It's not their willingness not to, but it's just there's so many projects that they're working on and there's so few staff working on them. So I think that's definitely an opportunity.